My dear child, before this very moment slips away, pause and hear me. I know the weight you are carrying right now, the questions that haunt your nights, the fear that tightens your chest, the prayers you whisper through trembling lips. And I am speaking to you now because I do not want you to miss what I am about to pour into your heart. This is not just another message. This is my voice, reaching through the storm, calling you closer, offering you peace that cannot wait. So stay, listen to the end, because what I will reveal could shift your spirit, strengthen your soul, and set your heart free in ways you have longed for but never dared to believe. The time is now, beloved. Don't turn away. You are addressing the very one who stretched the heavens from nothingness, who silences seas with a single command, and who cups your trembling spirit in the hollow of my hand. I recognize the weight pressing upon you right now. I know you have questioned whether I am truly present. You have surveyed your surroundings and spotted no change, felt no shift. You have petitioned again and again, and still the storm howls. Consequently, your mind dares to form the questions your heart is afraid to utter. Does God notice me? Am I praying incorrectly? Why has He not intervened? I am not intimidated by your questions, dear one. I invite them. They never repel me, they pull me nearer. Let me share something you may never have heard. Prayer is not an instrument of control. It is not the art of uttering the precise phrase to produce the desired result. It is a conduit of communion. It is the crossroads where your soul encounters mine, the haven where your spirit discovers rest, even when the world offers none. As you pray amid the tempest, understand that the syllables themselves are not incantations. The wonder is that you utter them at all. The wonder is that your spirit, even in pieces, still believes I exist and I am attentive. I am indeed. Prayer is the meeting place where your turbulence encounters my tranquility. You might imagine the wind needs to subside first. You might assume composure is a prerequisite for conversation. Yet it is precisely in the midst of your shaking, in the very heart of the squall, that I accomplish my most profound work. I do not postpone my voice until blue skies appear. I address you from inside the rumbling thunder. When you call, I do not withhold my presence until you have gathered yourself. I rush toward you the instant your spirit extends its hand toward mine. Indeed, at times I respond with visible change. Doors swing open, healing arrives, burdens are lifted. Yet often my reply is simply myself. Often my reply is the steadfast peace I set within you while the tempest beyond continues to roar. You pleaded for deliverance, and I offered endurance. You sought an exit, and I infused you with strength. You desired that I calm the storm, yet I calmed your soul instead. That, too, is nothing less than miraculous. You are not addressing a remote deity demanding flawless performance. You are conversing with your Father, your Maker, your Redeemer, who recognizes your voice among the multitude, perceives your nocturnal cries, and bends near even when your whisper trembles with weakness. I am not waiting for you to dazzle me. I am yearning for you to rely upon me. The adversary tries to persuade you that prayer is futile. He argues that quiet omission is more practical than raw honesty. He hopes fatigue will make you doubt that your voice counts, because he understands a truth he hopes you will forget. Each time you pray, you shove against the shadows. Each time you utter my name, even through pain, you proclaim that the storm is not your ruler. I am. You might not yet perceive it, but every prayer sinks like a seed into the soil of faith. Some sprout swiftly. Others lie beneath the surface for a season. Yet none are squandered. None escape my notice. I collect them all. I cherish your tears as jewels, inscribe your sighs in my record, value every syllable of your struggle as though it were pure gold. In due time, dear heart, the harvest will surely arrive. Refuse the deception that your prayers must be immaculate. Approach me untidy, authentic, even furious if that is where you are. I can bear your disappointment. I can cradle your grief. No utterance you could bring would cause me to withdraw. What repels me is not your candor, but your silence. The silence born of the lie that I am not listening. Address me once more. Open the door to me. Whenever you pray in the midst of turmoil, the mere act of stretching toward me alters the atmosphere. Even when you discern no immediate change, the unseen realm responds. Your petition sets in motion realities you cannot yet observe. Angels are sent, peace awakens, strength flows. Your spirit, though bruised, rises once more because its anchor is not your feelings but my identity. I am not deaf to your cries. I do not overlook your pain. I am not delayed because I am indifferent. Everything I accomplish is scheduled with eternity in view. Your existence is not determined by this storm. It is an episode, not your identity. A season, not your eternity. Prayer is the grip that remains when your hands feel ready to release. Do not hesitate to approach me again, even if the only word you manage is help. Even if your voice is nothing more than a fragile breath, even if the tempest has ground you into muteness, I can translate the silence. I can decipher the ache. When your soul utters wordless groans, my spirit intercedes on your behalf. Nothing is misplaced, nothing is squandered. You have remained in the eye of chaos and yet dared to pray. You have raised a hollow heart toward me. You have kept searching for me when surrendering to numbness would have been simpler. For that, beloved, I esteem you. You are not weak, you are not overlooked, you are not hopeless. The tempest may roar louder for a season, but it will never smother my voice, for I am still speaking directly to you. At times you question why the storm persists after you pray. You ask why, after emptying your heart, the sky refuses to brighten and the waves refuse to rest. Sometimes you whisper, maybe only in thought, why does it still ache? Why is nothing different? Yet, dear one, prayer is not an express lane bypassing suffering. It is the bridge that bears you across it. Prayer is not for managing the forecast. It is for remaining connected to me when the wind screams and your grip feels like it is slipping. When you pray amid the tempest, an eternal work unfolds. Even when the material world appears unchanged, your soul fastens itself to me. You begin to hear my voice not only in serenity but also in strain. You discover that I reside not solely in sanctuary and song, but equally in desert and tears. Your words may seem unheard, yet I respond in dimensions deeper than sound. Responses that reshape you. Some days I move in an instant. Other days I move through a process. You have watched others receive sudden breakthroughs and wondered why your tempest remains. But beloved, your path is not postponed. It is purposefully designed. I am molding you for a future far surpassing the present moment. I am driving your roots deeper so that when another storm arrives, you will not merely endure. You will stand unmovable. You will become a refuge for others. A living testimonial that prayer is not solely about escaping the tempest, but about encountering me within it. Do not mistake my silence for absence. When I appear quiet, I am listening more intently than ever. As a master artist steps away to study a canvas mid-creation, I occasionally withdraw, not in distance but in perspective, because I am fashioning something rare and radiant within your soul. If I granted every prayer instantly, you would perceive only individual brushstrokes, never the completed masterpiece. I want you to witness what I observe: beauty emerging from brokenness, strength ascending from perseverance, faith tempered in fire, quiet resilience shaped by waiting, and unyielding hope carved through long night seasons. Understand that your prayers are never trivial. Each time you speak to me, invisible doors swing wide in the spiritual realm. You invite my movement not only in your own story, but in the stories of many. Prayer is more than conversation. It is collaboration. You and I laboring side by side to draw heaven nearer to earth. When you breathe my name in darkness, light starts to press forward. When you request my presence, I fill even the emptiest caverns. Change may not be visible at once, but rest assured, it is underway. At times I move in abrupt shifts, at other times through gradual revelation. Yet every single prayer elicits a response from heaven. I am realigning details you never realized were askew. I am mending wounds you have become accustomed to bearing. I am shifting parts of your life you believed were permanently locked, not because your prayer was flawless, but because your heart was open. Allow me to remind you of something essential. I never tire of your voice. You may believe you have repeated the same words countless times. You might feel uneasy about asking again, yet I invite you to return. I invite you to speak once more. Each time you do, our bond strengthens, your trust widens, and your gaze rises a bit higher. Even if the exterior landscape remains utterly unchanged, be assured that something sacred is steadily shifting within you. Prayer is not a fleeting moment. It is a lived rhythm. It is the continuous turning toward me, even amid uncertainty. It is the refusal to allow pain the final say. It is your deliberate choice to believe I remain good, even when life resembles anything but. When you pray within the storm, you proclaim that your faith rests not on comfort, but on me. Through your tears you utter, I still believe, and through my spirit I respond, I am still here, and I always will remain. I watch you hold your breath between prayers, hoping the next utterance will unlock breakthrough. I notice you glancing at clocks and calendars, quietly asking, how much longer? I observe you questioning whether you are missing a step, whether you are praying hard enough, long enough, faithfully enough. Hear me clearly. This is not about performance. It is about presence. Your presence with me and my presence with you. When Peter stepped out onto the water, he walked not because the storm was gone, but because my presence was there. When he started to sink, it was not failure, it was invitation. My invitation to raise him up and show him that faith is not about never faltering, but about always reaching. Your prayers do the same. They reach, and I unfailingly reach back. Although uncertainty encircles you, prayer is the means by which you touch certainty once more. Emotions, fear, and delay may toss you about, but prayer anchors you in the reality that I do not change, I do not abandon, I do not cease loving, and I do not stop working. Therefore speak to me again, whether your words trickle slowly, flow through tears, or emerge as sighs in silence. I am not grading your eloquence, I am embracing your heart. The storm does not label this season, prayer does, because while the waves roar, your spirit is tied to the one who commands them with unbreakable authority and unwavering love. You are not a casualty of the weather. You are the child of the one who journeys through it beside you. Keep praying. I am here. Many times, in private moments you reveal to no one, you have asked me, who am I now that everything has shifted? The storm has torn away the markers you once clung to for identity. Success, routine, confidence, even relationships that once anchored you. In the hush following the crash, you wonder whether anything remains of the person you once were. Yet I do not regard you as someone who has lost everything. I see you as someone being rebuilt from the inside out. That reconstruction commences in prayer. When you pray, especially when your soul feels shattered, you are not merely addressing me. You are also rediscovering yourself. Each word you breathe into chaos, each sigh of surrender, each unfiltered cry of pain is not only heard, it is answered with my truth. You are not who the storm claims you are. You are not the labels pain has tried to affix to your spirit. You are not defined by what has been removed. You are defined by what I have planted within you, and prayer is the means by which you uncover it. Identity is not molded in comfort, it is forged in fire. I am the one who walks with you amid the flames, not to consume, but to reveal. When you pray through the storm, your soul learns to recognize my voice above every other. That voice, the one whispering, "You are mine," is the voice that shapes you, not fear's voice, not the past's voice, not failure's voice. My voice alone defines who you are becoming, and prayer is the holy ground where you learn to trust that voice anew, and it sings over you with unwavering tenderness until every lie falls silent. You imagine that your brokenness renders you useless to me. You assume your confusion disqualifies you. Yet I specialize in broken things, shaping shards into beauty. I unveil myself in hidden places. I speak most clearly to those who believe they have nothing left to give. When you drop to your knees and ask, "Who am I truly?" I am present, not with condemnation, but with a home-like whisper of truth. You are deeply beloved. You are chosen. You are seen. You are forever held. You are being sculpted by the very prayers you assumed were unanswered. Storms can drown out everything, your plans, your routines, even your pride. They strip you until you stand exposed before me. And it is precisely there, in that vulnerable space, that you discover who you truly are. Not who the world labeled you, not who others expected you to be, but who you are in me, utterly known, held, loved beyond comprehension, and forever treasured without condition. Prayer is the doorway to that revelation. It is not a practice, for after you have located yourself, it is the trail that guides you there. You may feel tempted to quit praying because you deem yourself unworthy. You notice your flaws and assume I notice them the same way. Hear me. I see it all, and I still desire you. I still call you mine. I still stoop low to listen whenever you speak. Your prayers need not be flawless to be formidable. They need not be eloquent to be heard. When you speak honestly, you speak powerfully. When you carry your shattered identity to me, I restore it with boundless love. You do not have to pretend with me. You do not need to arrive wearing seeming masks or polished fronts of perfection. The world trains you to perform, to impress, to earn affection, but I loved you before you ever knew my name. I chose you before you could take a single step. My love does not fluctuate with your performance, and prayer is the daily return to that reality. It is the gentle, persistent tapping upon your heart that says, "Return. Let me remind you who you are." Even when you lack every answer, even when you feel you are fumbling in the dark, each prayer is a step into light. You allow me to breathe life into places that seem lifeless. You invite me to rename you, not by what you have lost, but by what I have planted inside you. Courage, hope, faith, endurance, and resilience that cannot yet be fully erased. These are not merely traits, they are identities, and I discern them in you, even when you cannot. Fear not what the storm has stripped away. It has only taken what was never meant to define you. What remains is authentic, lasting, and true, and I am rebuilding you from that solid substance. When you kneel in prayer, you might feel frail, but I behold strength. You might feel empty, yet I perceive a vessel being prepared for new wine. You might feel unseen, but I am observing, upholding, directing. You are not merely surviving this storm, you are becoming something sacred within it. And prayer is the means by which you rise again and again until you recognize it too. So speak, beloved, even if your voice quivers, especially when it quivers. For when you pray, you not only remember who I am, you begin to recall who you are, and I will never allow you to forget. You bear more than you were designed to carry. I recognize the weight pressing upon you, anxiety squeezing your chest, guilt reverberating from old wounds, fear murmuring worst-case endings before the first sentence of a new chapter is penned. These burdens cling like shadows, making it hard to breathe. let alone pray. Yet still you try. You whisper my name, you call out in exhaustion. You come not because you feel strong, but because every other option has vanished. That is not failure, dear one. That is faith. Prayer in the tempest is more than conversation. It is surrender. It occurs the moment you place in my hands what you have tried to keep together in your own. I never shame you for taking so long. I never chastise you for arriving only when you can no longer bear the load. I simply spread my arms wider and invite, hand it all to me. I never fashioned you to shoulder the world's weight unaided. I fashioned you to journey with me, to rely on me, to allow me to be your strength when yours is gone. You have been taught to conceal so much, even in prayer, as though I did not already know the thoughts you fear to voice, the terrors you try to hush, the guilt you attempt to outrun. But prayer was never designed as a stage for performance. It was crafted as a clinic for healing. Come to me shattered, and I will not refuse you. Come to me ashamed, and I will cloak you with grace. Come to me confused, and I will grant clarity, not instantly, but gradually, like dawn unfurling across the night sky. The storm has not weakened you, it has awakened you to life's fragility, to pain's depth, and slowly and beautifully to how profoundly you need me. That awareness is a gift, even when it stings, because it draws you to me, not merely as a distant deity, but as your refuge, your rest, your rescue. You are not wrong to feel overwhelmed. You are not a failure because you are afraid. I see your humanity, and I love you nonetheless. Prayer spans the gap between your frailty and my fullness, and I meet you on that bridge every single time. You may believe the heaviness you carry disqualifies you from drawing nearer, yet it is the very reason I beckon you. Do not wait until you look tidy. Do not wait until you feel worthy. Come now, raw, tangled, uncertain, because only then can I exchange what crushes you for what lifts you. I grant beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, peace for panic. But you must offer me the ashes, the mourning, the panic. That is the transaction of grace. There are days when prayer itself feels impossible, when words refuse to form and silence screams louder than faith. On such days, your prayer may be mere presence, sitting with me, inhaling my love, allowing yourself to believe I am near, even when nothing seems different. That kind of prayer transforms you in ways you will not fully grasp until much later. For my spirit moves in the stillness. My healing often begins not with words, but with willingness. If you understood how passionately I long to carry your pain, you would never hesitate to bring it to me. If you could see how tenderly I gaze upon you in your lowest moments, you would never fear rejection. If you grasped how deeply I have inscribed you upon my heart, you would never imagine yourself forgotten. Until you can fully see it, prayer is where I remind you. Prayer is where lies lose their power and truth begins to bloom once more. Guilt insists you are unworthy to approach. Shame urges you to hide. Yet I have already paid for all of it. You are not praying for permission to be loved. You are praying from the center of a love that has never been revoked. My love does not wait for your perfection. It envelops your imperfection and whispers, "Stay with me anyway." The longer you remain, the lighter your soul becomes. You may not notice it, but healing has already begun. You speak and I respond, rarely with lightning or earthquake, but with a slow, sacred unfolding. Sometimes I calm the storm. Sometimes I raise you while it still rages. Yet every time you pray, I am working. I am reaching deeper, healing injuries you did not even know existed. And I will not cease. So do not cease. Even if your voice is weary, even if the same prayer leaves your lips repeatedly, even if nothing seems to change, something is always happening. You are being reshaped. You are being restored. You are being remade in the safety of my presence. Prayer is not a task. It is a lifeline. It is not mere duty. It is your doorway into peace. Each time you step through it, the burden grows lighter because you are no longer carrying it alone. You never were. There is something you have been afraid to confess, even in prayer. Sometimes you feel disappointed in me. You have asked, begged, waited, and still some prayers appear unanswered. Or worse, answered in ways that wound. You carry that disappointment like a silent ache, guarding it from poisoning your faith, yet it lingers. You hesitate to speak it aloud, fearing it signals lost trust. But beloved, I already know. I perceive it in the quiet gaps between your prayers. I sense it in the tremor of your voice when you say my name. I do not turn away. I do not love you less. I merely beckon you closer. Disappointment does not mark the death of faith. It often signals the birthplace of deeper intimacy. When you hand me your raw, unfiltered heart, including the questioning parts, including the letdown parts, you make room for genuine relationship. I never asked you to fake peace or feign joy. I never required you to mask your humanity. I came in flesh to walk the same valley with you so you would never be alone in your wrestling. You interpret delay as betrayal. You perceive silence as rejection. But that is not what I am doing. Sometimes my no is mercy. Sometimes my wait is preparation. Occasionally, the thing you asked for would dismantle what I am constructing within you. I do not always explain the reasons, not to frustrate you, but because if I unveiled the entire picture now, you might not understand, or you might halt growth before the fruit ripens. Therefore, I wait with you. I weep with you. I pray with you. Yes, I pray over you, for you, beside you. You are not abandoned in confusion. I am right here, holding each prayer, even the broken, even the angry, especially those, because they are real, and I can transform only what you are willing to unveil. Prayer does not guarantee life will unfold as you hoped, but it does guarantee you will never walk through it alone. The enemy wants you to think that if I loved you, I would always say yes. The cross demonstrates otherwise. The cross proves that love sometimes appears as sacrifice, as endurance, as walking through suffering while hope still breathes. That is what I teach you in prayer. Not how to avoid pain, but how to cling to me within it. You question whether something is wrong with your faith, whether you are not praying with sufficient belief. Hear me. Faith is not gauged by how loudly you proclaim trust when everything is perfect. It is measured by your willingness to return to me when nothing makes sense. It is measured by that single, quiet plea, help me still believe. That prayer rattles heaven. That prayer moves my heart. When you pray through the storm with disappointment lodged in your chest, I do not rebuke you, I honor you. In that moment, prayer becomes the purest worship. Not a transaction, not a performance, but a surrender. You declare, I do not understand you, yet I choose you. And that, beloved, is love in its deepest form. Bring your disappointment to me. Speak what has remained unspoken. I am not insecure. I am not defensive. I am your Father. I long to hear it. I long to hold it. I long to prove that even in what feels like loss, I am still composing a story that ends in redemption. Even where you thought there was silence, I have been answering in ways deeper than words. You may not yet feel it, but as you continue praying despite the ache, your spirit grows stronger. It resembles running against the wind. Painful, yes, but forging muscles of perseverance that will carry you farther than you imagined. The prayers you offer with trembling faith are not of lesser worth. They are sacred. They are bold. They are real. And in due time, you will see what I have been doing. You will look back at this season not with bitterness, but with wonder. You'll see how I held you, how I redirected you, how I never wasted a single tear. I know you don't see it now, but that's why you pray. Not because you understand, but because you trust that I do. So be honest with me. Let your prayer be messy. Let your questions spill out. I am not looking for polished religion. I am looking for relationship. And relationships are built on truth, even the hard truth, especially the hard truth. Let me into that sacred space where your pain lives, and I will show you that I've been sitting with you there all along. When you pray through the storm of disappointment, you open your heart not just to answers, but to healing. You make room not just for relief, but for transformation. And you show the world, whether you know it or not, that faith is not about getting everything you want. It's about knowing who you belong to, even when the world is falling apart. I'm here. I've always been here. Even in the disappointment, I am good, and I am not finished. There is something holy about stillness, about those moments when you stop striving, stop reaching, stop speaking, and simply let yourself be with me. Prayer is not always noise. It is not always a list of needs or a stream of words. Sometimes the most powerful prayer is silence. When your soul sits open, aching, waiting, when you have nothing left to say, but still choose to remain in my presence. That kind of prayer moves mountains you cannot even see. I know how hard it is for you to be still, especially in the storm. The winds are loud, the responsibilities are heavy, the clock keeps ticking, and every moment feels like it demands action, decision, response. You've been taught that movement equals progress, that effort equals faith. But sometimes, beloved, the truest expression of trust is in your stillness. When you stop trying to fix everything and let me simply be your God. You fear the silence. You think it means abandonment. But I am not like others who disappeared when things got hard. My silence is not absence. It is not neglect. It is the deep breath before the breakthrough. It is the sacred space where your soul learns to feel me without the noise, to hear me without distraction, to recognize my voice in the quiet. Stillness is where intimacy grows. It is where you begin to understand that my presence is not dependent on your productivity. Prayer is the place where you stop performing. It is the sanctuary where you no longer need to prove your worth. When you sit with me, not to get something, but just to be with me, you step into the kind of communion that heals you from the inside out. No effort, no striving, just presence. Your presence with me, my presence with you. That's the kind of prayer that shifts atmospheres. The storm wants you anxious, it wants you reactive, it wants you to think that stillness equals defeat. But I say this to you now, rest is not weakness, it is resistance, it is warfare. In your stillness, you are declaring that I am in control. You are saying, I believe you're working even when I can't see it. And that kind of faith terrifies the enemy. Stillness is where you begin to sense things the noise tries to drown out. My peace, my direction, my comfort. I don't always shout above the storm. Sometimes I wait for you to draw close enough to hear the whisper. Not because I want you to struggle, but because I want you to seek. Because it's in the seeking that you find me in a deeper way than you've ever known. You may feel guilty when you stop. You may worry you're wasting time, being irresponsible. But let me remind you, I created the Sabbath, not as a law, but as a gift. I created stillness as a place of restoration. When you rest in prayer, I renew your strength. When you pause in my presence, I reorient your soul. When you wait in silence, I prepare your spirit to receive what the rushing could never carry. There are things I want to give you that can only be received in stillness, not because I'm withholding them, but because they require space. Peace requires space. Clarity requires space. Healing requires space. And when you pause to pray, not just to speak, but to truly commune, you create space for me to move deeply. Don't rush through that moment. Don't race back to the noise. Stay a little longer. Let your soul breathe. I see how hard you try to hold everything together. I see how you measure your worth by your output, how you think your prayers must be passionate, eloquent, loud to be effective. But here's my truth. I'm not moved by your performance. I'm moved by your presence. When you are simply with me, I pour into you things that no amount of effort could ever achieve. Wisdom, perspective, power. So if you're weary, come sit with me. If you're confused, come be still with me. If you're overwhelmed, lay your head down in my lap and let me hold you. There's no shame in rest. There's no guilt in silence. There's only invitation. Invitation to receive, to be filled, to let go. In the stillness of prayer, you may hear things you've been too busy to notice. The gentle affirmation that you are still mine. The quiet conviction that I have not forgotten your prayers. The slow unfurling of clarity where confusion once lived. Do not despise the silence. I speak there too. And when you are ready to rise again, you will do so with strength that did not come from striving. You will walk out of stillness not empty, but renewed. You will face the storm with a quiet courage that can only be born in my presence. You will speak again, not with desperation, but with authority, because you have remembered that the God who calms the wind also lives within you. So rest, beloved. Breathe. Be still and know, not in theory, not in principle, but in experience, that I am your God and I am not shaken by the storm. Stay with me. Let me be your peace. You don't always notice it right away, but prayer changes the way you see. It reshapes your vision, not by erasing reality, but by allowing you to see through my eyes instead of your own. The storm may still be there, the mountain still high, the valley still deep, but through prayer, your perspective begins to shift. You begin to see what's possible, not just what's painful. You begin to discern purpose where you once saw only pressure. You begin to realize you're not stuck, you're being strengthened. This is what many miss. They think prayer is about escape, about fast solutions, quick answers, immediate relief. But true prayer is not about escaping reality. It's about aligning with me so you can endure and overcome it. When you pray through the storm, I begin to elevate your perspective. I begin to show you that what feels like resistance is often refining, that what appears as delay is sometimes protection, that what has been tearing at your hope is the very thing drawing you deeper into mine. You've asked me to change your situation, and I've heard you. But what I'm doing right now is something more eternal. I'm changing you in the situation. I'm enlarging your spirit to carry what I've called you to. I'm strengthening your endurance for what lies ahead. I'm teaching you how to stand, not just when it's easy, but when it costs you everything. Because prayer is not about finding a way around the storm. It's about discovering the God who walks with you inside it and learning to walk like I do. Perspective is powerful, beloved, and I don't want you to go through this storm and miss what I'm showing you. When you pray, really pray, not just for escape, but for understanding, I begin to lift the veil. You begin to recognize that even pain has layers, even sorrow has seeds, even darkness carries the weight of my hidden presence. I do some of my most beautiful work in places the world calls ugly. I build character. I uncover buried treasure. I strip away what you never needed so I can reveal what you've always carried. Think about what's happened already. What once made you crumble, you now endure. What once left you in despair, you now navigate with hope. What once silenced your voice has now become the reason you pray more deeply. You've grown. Maybe not in ways the world measures, but your soul knows. And I've seen every step. You think you failed because the situation hasn't changed, but look at you. You've stayed, you've remained, you've kept seeking me even with unanswered questions. That is what faith looks like. That is what maturity feels like. There's a sacred shift that happens when prayer becomes less about outcomes and more about intimacy. When you begin to pray not just to get answers, but to get me, that's when your vision starts to clear. That's when you stop defining peace as the absence of trouble and start knowing peace as the presence of your Father. I want to be that for you, not just the one who solves your problems, but the one who sits with you in them, walks through them with you, and makes you stronger than you've ever been before. You were never meant to go through this alone. That's why prayer is so vital, not as a religious habit, but as a life-giving connection. You've tried carrying things in your own strength, and it wore you out. But every time you bring those burdens to me, you allow divine exchange. I take what's too heavy and give you what sustains. I lift your eyes, I clear the fog. I remind you that this storm is not the whole story. It's only a chapter. And yes, there is more to come. More joy, more clarity, more breakthrough. But don't rush past this moment trying to get there, because I'm here too. I'm not just in your future victory, I'm in your present battle, and I'm opening your eyes to see it differently, to see it with me. You may look back and feel like you wasted time, like you spent too long being afraid, doubting, or drifting. But nothing is wasted in my hands. Every detour, every delay, every breakdown, I use it all. I redeem it all. And in prayer, I help you reframe the story. You start to see mercy where you once saw mistakes. You start to see my fingerprints in the mess. And even if the situation doesn't shift immediately, you do. And that changes everything. So let your prayer go deeper now, not just for relief, but for revelation. Ask me what I'm showing you in this. Ask me what I'm building in you through this. I will answer, not always in words, but in awareness, in clarity that rises like the sun, in peace that begins to settle where panic once ruled, in faith that feels less like striving and more like resting in the fact that I'm still in control. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You just need eyes to see that I'm here, that I'm moving, that I'm working all things, even this, for your good. You will see it soon, beloved. But even before you do, let prayer open your eyes and keep walking by faith, not by sight. You're not the only one who has walked through a storm, whispering prayers you weren't sure I would answer. You are not the only one who has cried in the dark, afraid that your faith was failing simply because you felt afraid. I want you to know that what you are experiencing has been shared by many, by souls I've loved fiercely and carried faithfully. The storm you're facing is not proof of abandonment. It is the very stage upon which my faithfulness will soon be revealed. You've heard stories perhaps of others who prayed and were immediately rescued. The sickness healed, the door opened, the crisis resolved. And you wondered, why not me? Why is my answer taking so long? Am I less seen, less loved? But no, beloved, I do not compare my children. I do not bless one and forget another. I am working in your life with the same care, the same love, the same power, and the same intentional timing. Let me show you something now that your heart may not have noticed. There are others around you watching how you pray through this. They see your faith even when it's trembling. They see your strength even when you feel weak. They see your hope. Not because everything is perfect, but because you keep showing up. That kind of faith preaches louder than any sermon. It reaches further than you realize. What you're building in the quiet of your prayer closet is not just for you, it is for others too. There are people in your life who will be strengthened because you prayed through the storm and didn't let go. There are hearts that will be comforted because they saw you cry and still believe. There are souls who will return to me because your life, through all its trials, pointed them to a God who stays. Your pain has not been in vain. Your prayer has not been in isolation. You are part of a greater tapestry, one that I am weaving together for the redemption of many. And there are others too who have prayed like you, who have walked roads darkened by despair, yet found me in the middle of them. I brought joy out of mourning for them. I brought strength where there had only been weakness, and I will do the same for you. My story in your life is not an exception. It is a continuation of what I've always done. Take brokenness and bring beauty from it. Don't forget that even my son prayed in the garden, asking for the storm to pass. He too wept under the weight of sorrow, and I was there with him, just as I am here with you. His obedience did not eliminate the pain, but revealed a glory that would change eternity. I know your pain is not his, but your prayers echo his heart. Not my will, but yours. That is the most powerful prayer of all. When you pray through the storm, you join a great cloud of witnesses, those who dared to believe when nothing made sense, who held on to me in the night, who praised me before the answer came. Their stories were marked by loss and hope, by pain and triumph, by wounds and worship. And now you walk among them. Your story is being written with the same eternal ink. You may think your faith is small, but I tell you it is mighty. You may think your impact is minimal, but I tell you it is eternal. Because I do not count the size of your words. I weigh the posture of your heart. And your heart, even bruised and weary, is turned toward me. That is all I ask. That is more than enough. Let me speak also of the prayers I've already answered, though you may have missed them. The peace you felt unexpectedly, that was me. The strength that came when you didn't think you could make it through the day, that was me. The friend who reached out at just the right time, the breath you still draw, the quiet moments of comfort in the dark, all me. I have not left you. I've been answering in ways quieter than the chaos, but just as real. And still, I'm not finished. There are more answers coming. There is restoration ahead. There are stories I am writing that begin with this storm, but do not end here. I am not only the God of beginning, I am the God of breakthrough, the God of restoration, the God who brings dead things back to life. I am the one who completes what I start. So pray boldly, pray with expectation, not because you demand answers, but because you trust the one who gives them. Not because you need control, but because you know the one who holds the whole picture. Let your prayer be the offering you place on the altar of trust, and let me turn that trust into a testimony. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. You are not insignificant. You are a vessel of my glory, even now. And when this storm passes, and it will, you will carry the fragrance of a deeper faith. Others will look at you and say, they've been with God, and they will be right. Now, beloved, return your heart again to this truth. You are praying through the storm, not because you are strong, but because I have called you to stand in a place that requires my strength. Every breath you've offered in prayer, every silent tear that carried my name, has brought you into a space of deeper knowing, not just knowing about me, but knowing me. This storm has stripped away distractions, comforts, and false assurances. But in their place, I revealed to you a clear picture of my presence, my power, and my love. You didn't think you could make it this far. At times, you assumed the weight would crush you, that the silence would steal your hope. But here you are, still praying, still seeking, still reaching. And that alone speaks of a miracle in progress. You may not recognize it yet, but the very storm you feared would destroy you has brought you closer to me than all the calm seasons combined. You've discovered that my nearness isn't just a promise, it's a lifeline. And every prayer you've spoken has wrapped that lifeline tighter around your spirit. When you pray through the storm, your words don't drift into the sky. They come straight to my heart. They carry weight, they carry history, they carry eternal significance. The prayers you've prayed in pain have more power than you can comprehend because they are born from a place of true dependence, of true surrender. And I never ignore a prayer spoken in surrender. I receive them, I honor them, and I move through them. This is where prayer shifts from petition to power. This is where your authority grows, not by volume, but by intimacy. Because now you know what it is to walk through fire and not be consumed. Now you know what it is to wait in the dark and still call me faithful. You've seen me not just as the God of abundance, but as the God of endurance. And that knowledge is unshakable. It's the foundation you will build your future on. You've been transformed, even if you don't feel different. Transformation doesn't always show up in a sudden change. It often begins in subtle shifts, in how you breathe, in how you pray, in how you look at the future. Your resilience has grown. Your clarity has sharpened. Your spirit, though bruised, now knows how to rise. You have become someone who doesn't just survive storms. You walk with me through them. Others may never understand what this storm cost you, but I do. I was there for every sleepless night, every anguished cry, every time you prayed, God, I can't do this anymore. I saw it, I felt it, and I responded, not always with immediate rescue, but always with unrelenting presence. I never stopped being God. I never stopped being good. And even now I am lifting you. Even now I am restoring. And soon, so very soon, you will begin to see the fruit of your prayers. The doors that were once closed will open, not just to give you what you asked for, but to show you how I've prepared you for it. The peace you sought will settle in, not as a fleeting feeling, but as a permanent resident in your heart. You'll walk into rooms that once overwhelmed you, and you'll carry calm. You'll speak into situations that once silenced you, and you'll carry my voice. This is the beauty of prayer through the storm. It doesn't just get you through it, it transforms who you are on the other side. You prayed as one who feared the waves. You rise now as one who walks above them. Not because the waves ceased, but because your faith has grown stronger than your fear. Your roots have gone deeper than the surface tension. You've become grounded in a place that the storm cannot reach. And as you emerge, I will call you to be a voice for others who are still in their own storms. Your words will carry a weight not of theory but of testimony. You will be able to say, I've been there, and God is faithful. And your voice will echo with a strength that only comes from surviving the night with me beside you. Others will lean on the faith you built in prayer. Others will see my light through the cracks of your story. This storm has not diminished you. It has refined you. It has not disqualified you. It has prepared you. And now the work we have done together in prayer will begin to reveal its purpose. The trials you faced were not in vain. They were not punishment. They were the soil for something holy to grow. So come, beloved, take one more breath, whisper one more prayer. You are almost through, not because the storm has ended, but because your heart has risen above it. And soon, you will look back and see not just devastation, but beauty. Not just endurance, but evidence of my hand in every moment. And your spirit will say, He was there. He never left. You will stand in the calm, yes, but you will remember the voice you heard in the chaos. It was mine, and I never stopped speaking. Now, beloved, we come to the moment your soul has been reaching for, even when your mind couldn't yet name it. The moment when you look back at the storm and begin to understand that it didn't win. Though the wind howled, though the waves crashed, though the nights were long and the answers slow, your faith endured. You prayed through the storm, and now you know what you couldn't have known any other way. That prayer isn't just something you do, it's who you are when you walk with me. You see now that the power of prayer is not just in what it changes around you, but in what it awakens within you. Prayer didn't remove every battle, but it drew you deeper into my presence. It didn't erase every sorrow, but it gave your heart a shelter where sorrow could be held and healed. It didn't silence every fear immediately, but it taught you how to live in courage despite the noise. And now, after all of it, you stand different, stronger, softer, wiser, freer. What I did in you is eternal. It will not fade with the storm's end. It will not vanish with tomorrow's challenges. What I've formed in you through prayer will continue to grow, to bloom, to overflow. This was never just about surviving the storm. It was about becoming someone who knows me intimately, who trusts me deeply, who carries my peace no matter what rises around you. You now know the secret that many never discover. The storm can howl, but it cannot have you. Not when you are anchored in me. You can be surrounded by chaos and still walk in calm. You can face the unknown and still live in assurance, because prayer has taught you to listen for my voice when no other voice made sense. Prayer has shown you that I am not only the God who calms the seas, I am the God who walks on water, the God who walks with you. This is what the storm has birthed, an unshakable awareness of my nearness. You no longer wonder if I hear you. You know I do. You no longer question whether I care. You have felt my care in the silence, in the stillness, in the smallest of ways. And now, as the wind quiets and the skies begin to clear, you carry something sacred. A story written in fire and faith. A story shaped in darkness, but destined for glory. You can share this story now, not from a place of unresolved pain, but from the deep well of understanding that comes only from walking it through with me. You can now tell others what I've done, not as theory, but as witness. And you will bring light to those still in shadows. You will bring strength to those whose knees are still buckling, because what you've received in prayer is not meant to be hidden. It's meant to overflow. So go and continue to pray, not just when trouble comes, but when peace settles in. Prayer is not only for storms, it is the rhythm of relationship. It is how we will walk together for the rest of your days, in joy, in pain, in ordinary moments and extraordinary ones. Prayer will be your place of meeting with me, and I will always be there. Let your prayer be bold now. Let it be rooted in what you know of me, not just what you hope, but what you've seen and what you've lived. Speak to me like the child who knows they are fully loved. Come to me like the friend who trusts they are always welcome. Rest in me like the soul who finally knows they are home. You prayed through the storm, and I met you there. I always will. So don't stop. Don't hesitate. This is only the beginning. The days ahead will bring new prayers, new battles, new beauty. And through them all, I will walk with you. I will speak with you. I will guide you. And you will never again wonder if I hear you. Because now you know I always did. And I always will. Amen. Now go, beloved, share what I have spoken. Someone near you is in their own storm, and your voice, shaped by prayer, will be the echo of mine in their darkness. Speak with boldness. Speak with tenderness. Speak with the love you've known in me. They are waiting to hear what you now know. May you never forget as you step forward from this storm that you are never alone. Every prayer, every sigh, every moment of stillness has drawn you deeper into the heart of the one who holds you. Let your life be a quiet testimony of hope and resilience, and may your prayers through every season be the anchor that keeps you steady, the bridge that leads you home. Go in peace, beloved, with faith made stronger by every storm. The story is not over. Your prayers are still writing it, and I am with you, always. Let this truth settle deep in your heart. No storm will ever have the last word over you. Prayer is not just what you do in desperation. It is how you rise, how you heal, and how you remember that your life is cradled by a love stronger than any tempest. Each day, as you speak, whisper, or simply breathe in my presence, know that you are heard, known, and cherished. Carry this peace with you. Beloved, as you take these words into your heart, remember this: I am not finished speaking. The storm may quiet for a season, but there will be more winds, more questions, more moments when you long for my whisper in the dark. Each time you seek me, I will be here. And so, I invite you, return again to this space where my voice meets your spirit. Return, not because you need answers in a single day, but because relationship with me is a journey that unfolds moment by moment. Subscribe, stay near, and let these messages be a lifeline in the days ahead. Share them with those still searching, and together let us walk deeper into peace, strength, and purpose. I have more to reveal, and I will meet you here. Amen.